Natural selection is a cornerstone of evolutionary theory, explaining how populations change over time and adapt to their environments. It operates through a combination of factors: inherited variation, the potential for populations to produce more offspring than can survive, and competition for finite resources. Together, these elements drive differential reproductive success, where individuals with advantageous traits are more likely to survive and pass those traits to the next generation. Let's break down how these elements work together to shape the diversity and unity of life. First, let's consider inherited variation, the foundation of natural selection. Within any population, individuals differ in their traits. These differences arise from genetic variation, which can result from mutations, gene shuffling during sexual reproduction, or gene flow from other populations. Importantly, these traits must be heritable, passed from parents to offspring through genetic material, for natural selection to act on them. For example, imagine a population of rabbits in a forest. Some rabbits have brown fur, which helps them blend into their surroundings, while others have white fur, making them more visible to predators. This variation in fur color is a heritable trait, meaning it can be passed down to the next generation. The next element is the potential of a population to produce more offspring than can survive. Most organisms produce more offspring than the environment can support. This overproduction ensures that at least some offspring will survive, even in the face of challenges like predation, disease, or environmental changes. However, it also creates intense competition for resources. In our rabbit population, each rabbit might produce multiple offspring. However, not all of them will survive to adulthood. Some may fall prey to predators, while others may fail to find enough food or shelter. This brings us to the third element: a finite supply of environmental resources. Resources like food, water, shelter, and mates are limited. When demand exceeds supply, individuals must compete for these resources. In this struggle for existence, those with traits that give them an advantage are more likely to survive and reproduce. For the rabbits, brown fur provides a camouflage advantage, allowing them to avoid predators more effectively than white-furred rabbits. As a result, brown-furred rabbits are more likely to survive, find mates, and reproduce. The combination of inherited variation, overproduction of offspring, and limited resources leads to differential reproductive success. This means that individuals with advantageous traits, like the brown fur in our example, are more likely to leave more offspring than those without such traits. Over time, these advantageous traits become more common in the population, driving evolution. This process is observable in many real-world examples. One famous case involves the peppered moth during the Industrial Revolution in England. Before industrialization, most moths were light-colored, blending in with lichen-covered trees. However, as pollution darkened the trees, darker moths gained a survival advantage, as they were less visible to predators. Over generations, the population shifted to include more dark-colored moths, demonstrating how differential reproductive success drives changes in populations. It's important to note that natural selection doesn't create new traits, it acts on the variation already present in the population. Mutations and genetic recombination introduce new traits, but natural selection determines which traits persist based on the environment. Another crucial point is that the environment plays a key role in shaping natural selection. Traits that are advantageous in one environment might be neutral or even disadvantageous in another. For example, long necks are advantageous for giraffes in environments with tall trees, allowing them to reach food that other animals cannot. However, in a different environment, this trait might offer no benefit or could even be a disadvantage if low-lying vegetation were the primary food source. Natural selection is also not a conscious process. It doesn't choose the best traits. Instead, it's an outcome of interactions between organisms and their environments. Those with traits better suited to their environment simply have a better chance of surviving and reproducing, passing their traits to the next generation. Over long periods, natural selection can lead to the emergence of new species. This occurs when populations with different traits become reproductively isolated, accumulating enough genetic differences that they can no longer interbreed. This process, known as speciation, highlights how differential reproductive success can drive the incredible diversity of life on Earth. In conclusion, the elements of natural selection, heritable variation, overproduction of offspring, and competition for limited resources work together to result in differential reproductive success. This mechanism drives adaptation and evolution, shaping populations to better fit their environments. By analyzing and evaluating these elements, we gain a deeper understanding of how natural selection unites all living things through shared processes while producing the diversity of life that surrounds us.